Well, I have got a very special guest this week, and I'm really honoured that Bryony, who is in the PDA Parent Circle, also lives about 5 minutes from my house. We've just realised, which is so insane. I actually can't believe that. But thank you, Bryony, and I can't believe that you thought that I wouldn't want you on here. I mean, that's wild.
I know, wild. I
So,
know.
so wild. But Brian, introduce yourself, Bryony, so that everybody knows who you are and why you are a guest on the Keeping Shit Real podcast this week.
Okay, so my name is Bryony. I've got two, first and foremost,
First and
I'm a
foremost.
mum to two children, 10 and 6. 10-year-old is ADHD, and my 6-year-old is ADHD with a PDA profile.
Yeah.
So point one. And then
Point one.
I'm also a
Very
play
valid point.
therapist.
Like that's it. We can finish it now.
That is the most relevant, isn't
That
it?
is the most relevant. And a play therapist who
And a play
now,
therapist, yeah, who specializes supporting PDA families now. Yeah.
and also
That's
we've been chatting for a good 45 minutes before we started recording this. So you're a play therapist before your son was, it started to come to light that he had a PDA profile. What has taken you to go down that route of specializing in play therapy for children that have got PDA?
I think I think it just kind of happened that way. I think so many people that I know that work in the space of PDA or are
Yeah,
making waves in the space of PDA are mums to PDAers or are
absolutely.
PDA themselves. Like,
Yeah,
I think that lived experience is really important, but I also
it's
feel
so
that,
important.
you know, lots of play therapists, are, PDA seem to be flooding the gates of play therapy at the moment. And I think we're all seeing more and more PDA children come for support,
Yeah.
parents reaching out for therapeutic support in the way of play therapy. So, and I think I've just been kind of working with those families and I think when you've got your own PDA, you kind of do a deep dive into PDA, don't you? And you live and breathe it, especially I'm
Yeah.
neurodivergent, as I know we've talked about. So my special interest is my kids.
My
So therefore,
hyperfixation.
my hyperfixation is PDA. I literally got
Hyperfixation is
shelves and shelves.
PDA.
And so naturally I kind of fallen in that way. And it's work that I just find really valuable and lovely and wonderful. So
Yeah, and it's super rewarding. And I say for those of you that are listening, Bryony and I have been chatting for about 45 minutes, and it's not until I think sometimes your lived in experience is so important as a parent to a PDA
yeah,
because there is that general consensus still because it's not in the DSM-5 manual. There are a lot of places out there,
yeah,
schools, colleges, whoever, healthcare professionals, dare I say it, I'm going to say it, that don't believe that the PDA is a thing. And I think
absolutely.
I suffer from imposter syndrome still all the time,
Mm.
because I think sometimes because I'm not a teacher, but actually, the parents' lived an experience is so important to somebody who claims to know if whether or not they've got a child or they've worked with kids. Actually, I think as a parent, our voices are
Yeah.
the most valued, but the most underheard as well, because people yeah, it takes a lot for people to try and understand something that they have no experience or they just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do find, I think when I'm working with families of PDA children, it feels very much like, I'm not there. Of course I'm there as therapist, but I'm also there as
Of the empathy side of the fact that
I
I've
have,
been in
yeah,
your shoes and I know
I
exactly
know
how you
what you're talking.
feel.
Yeah, exactly. And I really kind of hear that, and can hold that and can I've been on that side of things. And I say to them, like, my house is not, I do, just because I'm a play therapist, it's a
Oh,
shit show 90% of the time. And don't put me on a pedestal
fucking
thinking
winging
that
it,
I've got all
babe. That's my
absolutely. And I
top
think
tip of PDA parenting is, no 2 days are ever the same. And
no,
there's so
no,
many what the fuck moments.
exactly that.
But
Yeah.
keeping on that, and I think obviously you see a lot of PDA parents. I speak to a lot of PDA parents. I think that's where the main struggle is really difficult for them because sometimes you get into and I'm guilty of this. And this happens to us quite a lot. We get into these decent rhythms where everything's okay, loss of autonomy is all right for him, and then out the fucking blue you do exactly the same thing and nothing
Off a cliff.
works, and it
Yeah.
just then the shit hits the fan, and you're like,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
back to square one.
Exactly.
There's no cure. And when
No,
you
no.
think you've got it sorted, it generally doesn't work out like that.
Yeah, and I do think that's like a pattern that I see is, because some families come to me and they don't even know their child is PDA, and we start
Yeah,
this work and we kind of go on that journey of discovery together, and I
yeah.
support them in that and sort of, lowering demands and all that kind of stuff. But I think the, you know, I've forgotten what I was going to say now because I've got ADHD and my brain's gone.
Oh, the joys, the pair of us
Oh,
together
that was what
chatting.
we're just
That's
talking
it.
about.
That's it. We've got
Bring
it
back.
now. Come back. You've come back. You're back in the room. Oh, babe, you wait until you hit the perimenopause. It gets even fucking worse.
I swear to God, it's knocking at my door.
Well,
Like,
somebody said to me today, actually, am I, because obviously I'm late diagnosed, like literally last month, and somebody said to me, "Oh, are you going to just on the ADHD thing? Are you going to go down
titration. Yeah,
the trition rate? I can't fucking say that word, the medication route, anyway."
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah,
said, actually, I don't know if I'm going to because I'm 46 and I'm like lived a very colourful life, and I do think that's only because I make some fucking mad decisions and I just do shit. And I do think
yeah,
that if
yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't ADHD, I probably wouldn't do that. And I don't really want to be. My mate's gone onto it and she's onto Elvanase, is that it? Or
Oh,
whatever.
Elvance. Yeah, yeah,
Elvan, that's it. And she's like, I've totally stopped daydreaming. And I was like, I quite like daydreaming.
yeah. I know what you mean. So
Quite
yeah,
like drifting off and having 20,000 thoughts in a minute. I'm quite down with that.
yeah. It's funny. I'm a recently diagnosed as well,
Yeah.
in January, but I did start.
Tritrician. Tritrician, is that the word?
Titration.
Like, that's it. We
I
got the
have I have started meds actually a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't take them today, which is
how
why
and just we're going off on one now
we
to
are now.
ADHD,
We
but
got to focus. Yeah.
how has it made you feel?
To be fair, it's actually really helped me focus, which has been really
Okay.
good, especially on like the boring shit that I don't want to do.
Yeah, because I've said
It's
to you a
that
minute
like,
ago, I am
yeah,
the queen of diversionary tactics. And for
yeah,
me,
like,
because I love to talk, be in the thick of it, be the center of attention, do everything like practical. Like I need to
mm,
see things. I don't want to fucking read stuff. Doing this project for education settings
mm,
because there has been and this and I look back at my childhood when I fucking hated my exams. I hated my GCSEs because I couldn't bear the thought, the sitting down. And in
yeah,
my professional job, I have to take exams and all that sort of jazz, and it's to sends me over the edge. But the practical elements, I'm always absolutely fine. I'm like, yeah, if I can do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I find that, yeah, I've just completely diverted away from like I've actually, the sitting down and having to write heavily,
yeah,
documents that
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because everybody needs to do it.
Yeah, and that's a big part of my job as well, obviously. And so yeah,
Writing
it has really
reports.
helped in that
Oh,
area. It's like the playing with the kids bit,
love
fine.
it.
But then having to sit down and write clinical notes, it's not.
Yeah, that's not
My
the life
brain
for me,
says
babe.
no. So yeah, so
Yeah,
I've
just a lot.
it has been helping with that. But yeah, I'm just vibing on fresh air today. So that's why we keep going
Yeah,
off on
I mean, it's a great day
tangents.
for it. So let's go back to play therapy then. So that's your personal journey, and you then have taken the route to go down and support PDA families. So
Yeah.
what does play therapy look like for those? There are some parents that are probably listening to this, and they may be thinking their child hasn't got PDA, but
Mm.
obviously Moo goes to a specialist school and he has just finished. It was really beneficial play therapy for him. He's had two blocks of it. So he's had 24 weeks of it nearly since he
Great run.
started. So yeah, he had it at the end of year two, or well, the last year. He's in
Mm.
age, they're in learning capability classes, not directed by age, even though he's
Right.
in
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
three. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And he's really loved every minute of his play therapy. So what does that look like? I mean, but trying to get it out of him, what he actually does.
Yeah. No, you
Very, very
can't.
different
Mustn't
thing.
do that.
Do that. But he's come home with a box of his
Oh,
lessons, his I
that's
was
so
about to say
sweet.
treatment. That's totally the wrong word. The course length is, his sessions have finished. Um,
Oh, he's come home with all his stuff. Yeah.
a massive box of stuff, and I was
Oh,
like, God love a play therapist, but don't send slime back to my house,
yeah.
please. I was like, I fucking hate it. That stresses me out. But anyway,
Oh,
but what does
oh.
play therapy look like to kids? Well, not even PDAs. Obviously, yeah, PDAs. But what does your day-to-day job entail?
So play therapy is like it's a form of counseling or psychotherapy for kids, basically. So
Yeah,
it's not like, it doesn't rely on verbal language.
yeah,
So the toys are their words, basically.
okay,
And they communicate how they're feeling through toys, through music, through art, through how moving their bodies.
yeah,
It's all very sort of creative, but play therapy is very relationship focused.
hmm
So it's all about how you are in relationship with others, which is essentially, fucking PDA.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
it's
I mean, play therapy seems like it's the most obvious thing that a child with PDA that should have it as a baseline everywhere.
absolutely, because I think it fits so well because a play
It's
therapist,
child-led.
it's child-led, it's
Yeah,
non-directive, it
yeah,
focuses on complete autonomy for the child.
yeah.
So the
They're in
child comes,
control. They
yeah,
can choose what they want to do, what they
absolutely.
don't
They
want to
choose
do.
what they want to do, they choose what they want to play. It's not directed by me. And I do work slightly different with PDA children than I would sort of normal children in that, I'm a lot more flexible around, when children, some of my PDAs, they come and they're like, I'm done now, and
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, you're done, let's go. Like I'm not,
And
I
how
don't
long,
sort
which, you work in schools, Bryony. So I mean,
of,
how does, obviously you work private as well. So we'll talk about that at the end of this, actually, because, if you are thinking of getting a private play therapist, you obviously work, are self-employed also. But how do you end up doing it for kids? Like in terms of, do you visit schools, they come to you, or do you have like a
yeah.
shared, like communal centre where everybody goes?
So I currently rent an office, but I'm actually in the process of moving in July. I'm building a cabin in my garden, which is going to be like a playroom,
Yeah,
which I'm very excited about because I feel like I want it to be as child friendly and as clinical, less clinical as it can possibly be, And I think sometimes when
yeah,
children come to an office, it's all very formal and
clinical.
official. Yeah, and I just want
And
them to just
also,
come in my garden,
and
come
also
to
things
the
with
little cabin.
PDAs, no, they probably need to play therapy because they've had a traumatizing experience through
Yeah,
school, and
yeah,
that
yeah,
whole,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
formal
yeah,
setting is going
yeah,
to be, it's too
yeah.
much.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do, and then I have a mobile kit as well. So I do go to schools. But I think when I'm considering children that I see at school, I don't see children that are traumatized by school systems in school
No,
because I
absolutely,
become
that makes
part
no
of the
sense.
trauma.
Yeah, that totally
And,
makes no
and,
sense.
and then they only get to see me if they come into school. No, no, no. So, it's very case dependent whether or not I go into a child's school. Most of my clients are private practice.
Yeah,
Um, some I'm part of their EHCP or their YOTAS package. Some are funding privately. So yeah, so sort of a broad range. So they come for 50, they get 50 minutes a week, and it's always on the same day, same time every week to keep
yeah,
that
that's what we've had.
consistency.
That's what Moves was. It was always
Yeah,
every
always, yeah,
Thursday at nine
everything's the same.
thirty.
The layout's the same, the toys are the same, I'm the same. And
There's
we
no change in routine, change in
know it's
expectation. It
very,
is.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But so I think if you're thinking about play therapy, like it's when you're working with PDA children, I think, and PDA families, often when families come for play therapy, we're like almost the last stop in their nervous system journey. Does that
Yeah,
make sense? So it's
yeah,
like shit's
totally.
got so bad
That
that
they've
they
got
are
nothing
now
else. They're
like,
clinging on,
please,
clutching on straws.
yeah, they're like, please help us. And I think that that's really important to think about because if a child's in burnout or they're in their nervous system is so shot,
Yeah.
does that child really need another adult in their life? Does that child really need another demand of therapy? Because therapy is a demand, right? It is,
Oh,
you are
totally.
expected to come every week. And
Yeah.
so sometimes how I work is if that's the case, sometimes I work with families first, like parents, and get the sort of systems around the child
Yeah.
in a better
Cool.
place so that the child becomes
Exactly.
more stable and they start to sort of get more spoons back. Well, you think about the window of tolerance, right? I know you talk about
Oh,
this all the time. I
I'm just
talk about
obsessed
it
with
all
the
the
window
time.
tolerance. And I
It is
just,
so important.
the window
Yeah.
tolerance is, if you listen to this and you don't know what you're talking about, I'll put it in the show notes actually. But I say this to every single parent and every single
Yeah.
school that I speak to.
Yeah.
You really need to understand the window
Yeah. The window of
tolerance.
tolerance is key to understand
So
these children in capacity. But yeah, if we can widen that window a little bit, then maybe then they can access therapy and stuff like that.
exactly.
But
But on the day when they've got a low tolerance, then you're not going to push it anyway and do anything. It's only when they've got that higher
yeah.
tolerance
And
and then
so
you
there's
can
a lot
push
of
it.
exactly, there's a lot of flexibility there. And I say to parents, this is very much on the day if they can manage, and
They're
there
not
is
feeling it, they're not
flexibility
feeling
there,
it.
and sometimes they'll come in, they'll do 10 minutes and then they'll go again. But I think
The
what
success rate on it must be really good, Bryony, isn't it? Like the buy-in from kids,
yeah, I think what, my experience as well, talking to other play therapists that work with PDA children is
and my experience, the
often
living
what
experience as a parent whose child has just had
yeah,
literally
exactly. And I
two,
think
two
I
blocks
think
of 12.
there's a few things that go on in therapy for these kids, and I think one of them is
Because
about
therapy, you hear therapy, the word therapy as a
yeah,
parent, you think, oh my God, like
yeah.
that's what are they going to be
What are
doing?
they? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think it's very, I think what often happens, there's a few things that go on. I think one of them is about reconnecting to safety in relationship, right? These kids have often had
That's
been
really,
traumatized from relationships, right?
absolutely,
They're traumatized from adults that don't understand them, from schools that have burnt them
yeah,
out. And so my priority is in a way to show them that you adults can be trusted, that you can feel safe in relationship, that
yeah.
you can, it's all about polyvagal theory, nervous system safety.
Oh, the
That is
polyvagal theory. I
absolute
mean, I was quite
bottom
so off the
line.
mark learning about the polyvagal theory. I mean, hindsight's a fucking wonderful thing, isn't it? I mean, honestly, if I had a
Yeah,
crystal
yeah.
ball, but I think it was Christy Forbes actually that I watched a reel of her. I reckon it was last year. Maybe it was last year, and then I suddenly the polyvagal theory is mind blowing,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
And play
Want to
therapy.
explain what the polyvagal theory is? Because again, there's all these terminology, isn't there? There's all these terms and these
Yeah, yeah, I
acronyms.
know. I mean, polyvagal theory is essentially what play therapy is built upon. It's about that
Yeah,
neuroception of safety.
yeah.
It's not just about physical safety, it's feeling safety in your
Yeah.
physical
Which,
body,
how
in
important
your
is that
nervous
with the
system.
PDA?
Yeah.
That
And
is everything.
that is the main focus of a play therapist, is to support, because we deal with trauma, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same with PDA children. It's about nervous system safety. That is first and foremost connection over any form,
Correction, anything.
yeah, any form of learning, you
This
know.
is where I'm finding that the narrative of PDA is so heavily driven by its high levels of anxiety. And,
Mm,
there are a lot of big charities out there. There's a lot of big accounts that just
mm,
bang on it, but it's not about that. It's about making
no.
them feel safe. And that's
And
where,
I
and I think
also,
this is where people
yeah,
constantly, and parents are constantly, well, we've implemented this, we've implemented declarative language, we've tried declarative language, we have taken a low demand approach, but I'm like, until you shift that you are looking at making them feel safe. And sometimes, and this is another thing I always say to parents, sometimes just saying less is so powerful than and just making them feel safe, because feeling safe
yeah,
doesn't always
yeah,
is a feeling. You can't just
yeah.
say, oh,
It
you're
is.
really safe in this
Yeah.
house.
No, exactly. And that's it. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, really. I think there's so much noise out there. And I think, so much focus as well is on like the avoidance of demands, and that the name of
You can't,
PDA,
but
pathological
you can
demand
never
avoidance.
fully, but
But
it's
it's
that the
but it's also the worst. It's the worst name ever because it
it's the
focuses
worst.
it
See
dem
what, but yeah, demand avoidance. So this is,
the avoidance of the demand is the behavior, right? That is
yeah,
the behavior
totally.
you see. And actually, the
Persistent drive for
drive for
autonomy
autonomy, it is the autonomy that is central
to
to,
everything.
to everything with PDA kiddos.
Yeah, and I feel that the narrative is shifting a lot more now away from pathological demand avoidance. It is
Yeah.
shifting more to persistent drive to
Yeah.
autonomy,
Because
for
PDA kids,
autonomy.
they want to,
But
they
adults,
absolutely
adult
can.
PDAs, and
Yeah.
this, and it was interesting. I did a post about this on my Instagram ages ago, and I was really, really, because every parent that I speak to, and we've had over 500 parents in the PDA parent circle over the last sort of 16 months, and we are generally normally the same. The word, I mean, I know that when pathological demand avoidance was put on my radar, I was like, fucking hell, he sounds like a psycho.
Psycho. Yeah, it's
Like,
horrible
it's a
name.
really
Yeah.
horrible terminology. Anyway, then this post was really interesting to read the comments from adult PDAs
Mm.
that were saying, actually, if we take it away from the fact it's a drive for autonomy, actually, as they have gotten older, they feel that pathological demand avoidance is better, more age appropriate, because
Okay.
the pathologizing part of it, it's instilled in them, it's a
Yeah, yeah,
part
yeah.
of them. And
Yeah.
I said, maybe it's
Yeah.
just because my kids are younger and I feel
I don't
that
know, because I feel like, the avoidance of demands, like I
you
find
can't fully,
that
like, listen, it doesn't
they
matter
do
whatever
want
you
to.
do in the world, whatever you implement, there is absolutely no way you can fully avoid demands. You
No,
just
but
can't do it.
also I feel like children and PDAs absolutely can comply with demands and they want to.
They
It's how that
can,
demand is
absolutely can.
presented. It's
Yeah.
how it's presented to them. And
Max is
if they
quite,
feel like
yeah,
they have autonomy and choice and power and
and
control,
control.
that is the central
Yeah,
to
and
it.
they feel safe. Matt, since Moo started at his SMH school, and obviously the trigger for us, and I don't ever want to traumatize and put fear of God into parents, but the reality is, for us, the trigger was school, and the trigger generally for a lot of PDAs is
Mm.
school, because the
Yeah,
system's not designed for
yeah,
autonomy
yeah,
control.
yeah,
And since he started school, the stress bucket. Everybody has got a capacity, but and a stress bucket. As adults, you and I can empty my bucket, chuck a
mm,
couple of glasses of water out, and I'm on a bit of more of an even keel. Obviously, we know that a PDA's bucket can go very quickly, and it can fluctuate.
yeah.
You've got
It
fluctuate,
fluctuates.
and
Yeah,
fluctuation as well is a massive thing that is also to be considered. Just because
yeah,
something you've had a bit of a lull one day doesn't mean it's not just
yeah,
going to overflow the next day.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I remember saying, he's like a different kid, but now he's autonomy is being honored at school, and he feels safe, he feels secure. He knows his transport driver, he knows the routine, the boundaries, and his compliance is sometimes better than his twin brother, who's just got ADHD, because
yeah,
he's
yeah,
super compliant. But then I always think, is that crossover then of the autism side? Because obviously his twin brother is not autistic. They,
yeah, yeah,
but he's very compliant, and he follows the compliance path because is that his autism, and he likes a set routine, and
yeah, yeah,
he likes to follow instructions, whereas Jake's like me, like, wow, just doesn't give a shit, jump straight in,
yeah.
feet first, ask later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that comes back actually to like what we were saying earlier about kind of what I see in therapy. And one of them is kind of that relationship, learning to trust others again. But also, I feel like when kids are at school, and sometimes when they're not as well, but therapy can become a little bit like a holding space where they get to equalize
Yeah,
with a therapist in a safe and therapeutic way that can
yeah,
be held and contained for them. And sometimes that is the therapy that they just get to it almost gives them some spoons back. If you think about spoon theory,
yeah,
come
totally.
in, they get that equalizing, they get to feel like
Bucket's
practice that
slowly getting
mastery.
emptied.
Yeah, and then it just tops up their little bucket enough then for them to go back out, and I think sometimes, I always feel like with these kids, they can, if we set goals or targets with parents, they can sniff it out.
Oh,
Like there is
100%.
that, if there's an
Game over.
agenda in that
Game
room, then
over.
no, and it's like shut down.
Absolutely game over.
So, I'm really reluctant to kind of set things like that. I think I like to wait and see to see how the children respond and to see what they
Yeah, because you're never going to
think
know.
that they need to work on,
Because
and what they
kids,
want to do.
yeah, because PDA is, I've said this, I always say this and say it time and time again. You've met one autistic child, you've met one autistic child, you've met one PDA, you've met one
Yeah,
PDA,
100%. Yeah.
age.
They are all so different. Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of complexities with PDA, just with kids in general. Some days we go, sometimes Moo is, he will. He could be a bit of a nightmare drifting off to sleep. That can take, that coming down, but he will sleep all through the night. But he is a sucker for getting up. But there's so many kids that struggle to get sleep, don't stay asleep all night, need co-regulation throughout the night time. And then you get all that chucked in, and they might be incredibly, they might have ARFID as well. So they've got restricted food eating disorders. And then,
Yeah.
you don't want to piss off a fucking tired and a hungry PDA also.
No.
I mean, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but in terms of what you do then, the play therapy, what does that look like in terms of what do you play? What do you do with them?
Well, I mean, the room is full of loads of different things. There's puppets, there's construction, there's
Yeah,
messy stuff, there's sensory stuff, there's
slime.
yes,
Ah, ah.
slime. There's sand, and they can do sand tray stuff. So I'm also a qualified sand story practitioner. So sometimes I work with
Wow, that is an
children.
epic accolade to have,
Yeah,
Bryony, in
yeah,
your on your CV. I
yeah.
love that.
Sounds,
We moved play therapy. He came home with a oh, I should have showed you it. He come home with it's like a bottle. It's got
mm,
slime in it and glitter, and you shake it. Oh God, what's it called? I
yeah.
can't. Oh God,
Like a little
brain.
sensory bottle.
Yeah, that's it. Brain fog. It's so
Yeah.
cool. I was like, wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he loves it.
So it's all out. I mean, it's all out. It's all on display for kids, and they just come and they choose what they want to do, and it's very led by them. So often, like if I'm if we're like playing a
Yeah,
game, say, like that we're playing shops, for example,
yeah.
you know, I always check in with kids if they're like, well, or you're the teacher. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, I wonder if, am I a bossy teacher or am I a nice teacher? So I'm
Ha!
always constantly checking in with them. Like, how do you want me to play this role? What am I going to say? You know, so
Yeah,
it gives them so much autonomy about how they need to play this out
love
and how they
that.
want to do that, you know, and, you know, so there's constant like stage whispers, we call it, where we're like, just checking in, like, am I doing it right? Or, you know, whatever it is, you know,
Oh,
that you need to just sort of allow them to take the story where they need it to go. So yeah.
and here's my PDA.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Moo, you're going to be on the podcast. We're recording a podcast. You can say hello to everybody if you want.
How much people are going to be watching?
Well, listening. Go on, just say, do you want to say hi?
Hello.
So, Bryony's a play therapist. How good was your play therapy at school?
We good.
You loved it, didn't you?
Aw.
Can you tell everybody what did you do? So anybody that's wondering, I haven't taken my kid out of school. They've had a water leak. So we had to go and collect your money.
No, they turned off the water
They
supplies.
turned off the water supply. But tell everybody, what did you do in your play therapy, Max, that you loved?
Built a bottle.
Built a bottle, sensory bottle. I was just telling Bryony and
Wait, no. I'm going to go get some.
but nobody's gonna see it because we're recording this, but it's gonna be
it.
but yeah, you can go and show it for Bryony if you want. And what else have you done at play therapy?
Things.
A lot of things. Okay.
A lot of things. It will be, that's
And
it. And I think,
do you know what he just said? And this is so good, but none of it involves you, which is so good because his
Yeah,
relationship with his play therapist
exactly. And
is
one of
so
the things,
special.
absolutely. And one of the things that as a play therapist that I hold is the confidentiality of the space of the
Absolutely.
child. So
But it's
what they say and what they play, I don't share with parents unless it's a safeguarding risk and I have to.
absolutely.
But, you know, I think holding that space for them, knowing that they can show me all
Yeah.
sides of themselves, because children, you know, if they've gone through trauma, they've gone through hard times, or they're having big feelings, often they want to protect those that they love the most.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't ever want to feel that they've
Children don't
thrown
need,
somebody
yeah,
under the bus.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So they don't need to protect me. So often I do get more.
That's exactly what I was telling Bryony about Moo. So go on, you can. For those of you that are listening, Moo's gone to go and get his sensory bottle that he made. Go on.
Da.
Look at
Give
that.
it a good old shake. It's cool,
Ah,
isn't it?
I can see all sorts in there.
No,
Which includes little turtles.
turtles.
Little
Got turtle.
turtles.
You loved all the little turtles that your play therapist had, didn't you? Yeah, loads of little turtles.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I love that fact that it's strictly.
I want to smoke.
No, what? I love the fact that it is strictly private and confidential for the children.
Yeah, and then every sort of 6 sessions that I see a child, I meet with parents once and we
Yeah.
talk about that. So when I'm playing with a child, I'm looking at the themes that are coming up in their play.
Yeah.
So are there kind of themes around power and control or whatever it is that's coming up? And then I talk about the themes with parents, but I don't talk explicitly about what children play or say. And I
Yeah.
think it's really important that, you know, that's
There's a level of confidentiality with the
yeah,
kids.
absolutely.
Because, yeah, I mean, I think as parents as well, you always want to know everything that your kids are
And
doing.
in my play, I got to swear.
Did you?
There
got
you
to
go,
swear.
you see?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
Is there? Yeah, because I think that's obviously one thing that can be quite prevalent with PDAs can be
Yeah, they can
swearing.
say whatever they
It's
need to
equal.
say,
Well, it's
however
equal.
they
Well,
want
it's
to
not
say it.
swearing. I don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, yeah, you got good at winding it in because it's not. This is another thing that we have to, as PDA parents, have had to let go of. Is actually that it's not swearing. A lot of Moo will only swear when he's equalising, and that's
I get food.
you're going to go and get food, are you? Okay. Do you want to? Okay. Is when he's. Thank you very much. I love your little sensory bottle.
Yeah,
Keep it here,
Chicken.
just in case I want to shake it. Thank you, darling. Don't go eating.
Don't open it.
I won't open it. Don't worry. Would not want green stuff all over my computer. But thank you very much for. Plus, it doesn't spill.
Yeah, my son's the same. It's always in equalising when the swearing comes out or the middle
And the middle finger.
Yeah.
Middle finger is a very, very. Somebody said to me ages ago, it's the PDA salute, which absolutely made me laugh out loud. I thought that's really, really,
Yeah, that
really
is spot
funny.
on. Yeah.
It is spot on. And so, if there are any parents listening to this that are struggling, how can they get play therapy, whether or not it's with you? If you're in Surrey, this is where Bryony and I live in Surrey, so I will put Bryony's website in the show notes as well. But how do you go about getting play therapy? If your children are in a specialist school, it's normally sort of comes with the funding side, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if you are thinking that play therapy,
I present to you Doggy.
oh, this is Doggy.
Oh, woof woof.
Woof woof. Tell everybody, what sort of dog have you got?
I have a German Shepherd.
And what sort of dog is he though? What does he do? What's his job? Who does he work for?
Job,
Works for the
work for mummy.
Oh, he works for me. Mwah. If people wanted to, use their DLA or how would they get play therapy sorted?
So there's lots of different ways. I think there's obviously private practice. So if you're looking for privately, go on the BAPT website.
BAPT.
Yeah, so that's the British Association of Play Therapists.
Perfect.
Which I'm a member of, and I recommend going on there because we're trained at master's level. So we really sort of know our stuff. And you hear so many things, play therapy is not a protected title. So anyone can call themselves a play therapist.
Oh no.
It's a bit like psychotherapy and counselling. It's awful.
A bit like sleep therapists as well. I mean, there's been a lot of backlash about sleep consultants this week after the
you want to make sure they're accredited. So BAPT.
Yeah. What do you mean? I'll show you in a bit, darling.
And they've got like a search bar on there, so you can put in like whether you're southeast, northwest, wherever.
Okay, amazing. So people can get it geographically relevant to what they are.
So you can fund privately, absolutely. In Surrey, if you go through Mindworks, you will get play therapy normally. But I think with Mindworks, you only get a short amount of time. I think it's about 9 sessions, which as we know,
I think that's
build
right.
a trusting relationship.
Yeah,
it's not a lot. It's not a lot of time.
Not a lot.
When you think Max, he's had how many? 24 sessions.
So he's had 12 blocks. He had a 12 block at the end of. They must have finished probably this time last year, and then they rolled it on quite quickly to when they went back in September. So he's just finished it. He literally brought the box of goodies home.
Yeah. So nine sessions is
I mean, he's got his annual review in 15 minutes. So I'm obviously gonna try and mention again that play therapy is super beneficial because he loves it.
Yeah.
His play therapist sent home a bookmark of those two on it, and it's just so sweet.
Oh,
his golden time at school. One of the things is because he was really, in true, one of the PDA traits is not that obsession, but getting. It coming to the end, and he was starting to get quite worried about it because I think he's found it such a great way to channel out any sort of worries or concern in a space that's so private for him.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what freaks a lot of parents out is whatever your kids are saying and you're not there. I mean,
it is hard to not know. And I've been on, my son had.
Oh, mate, same, babe. I'm the same. I was a bit like, fucking hell, what's he going to say?
I know
But I was like,
listen, process.
When he's equalising, he tells me I'm a shit my money way sometimes. So it is. But it's not.
That's it. I'm in the same boat. My son had play therapy, and I know the process. But sitting in that not knowing is really, really hard. Like it is. It is
hard. But then I think that's one of the biggest thing, as we know with PDA, is that the trust that you have to have with them is just absolutely. If you break the trust, or they feel that they're doing something, especially knowing so much from the start that the trust is one-on-one and it's between them and the play therapist is so important. So that's how you can get play therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
And if anybody's listening to this, what would be your top tip? If people, I don't know, don't feel comfortable with it, can they do sort of play therapy at home? And what would be your top suggestions? Because we know that, especially PDAs, I'd say younger PDAs, well, and older, because what age would you suggest play therapy is really, really suitable up to? Middle teens? I don't know.
So it all depends on your play therapist experience.
Totally.
So when you're trained at master's level, you're trained for roughly sort of age 4 to 12.
Okay.
But then lots of play therapists go on to kind of do further training for adolescents and stuff like that. And I think it all depends on cognitive age rather than chronological.
Yeah, totally. Then absolutely.
So it's kind of a, however your child will respond really and how they make use of the space. But I think you know, if you're looking at sort of, I think having special playtime at home with your PDA can be super, super beneficial as well. And, you know, just sort of having a dedicated 45 minutes where they get to direct you, they get to make the play up, they get to cheat, they get to bend the rules. So if you're playing snakes and ladders, let them cheat their pants off, let them win.
That's one thing that I learned the very hard way, is that there's a lot of
let them win and
board games.
Let them feel that sense of power and autonomy and control, and let them experience that and equalize. And just go along with it, you know, and check in. Like if they're like, well, you're the policeman, check in. Well, am I a good policeman? Am I bad? Oh, okay. You know, just give them as much
and let them lead.
And just let them lead. Yeah. But often, you know, when I try, because I'm a play therapist, if I try and do sort of a therapeutic playtime with my son, he goes, why are you talking to me like that? Because he knows that's not how I normally talk.
Yeah.
You know, I'm normally shouting and, you know, or whatever, but he's like, why are you, you're weird. I'm like,
you're so weird,
I think you have to take it for any sort of playtime, special playtime with a grown up, undivided attention, one-on-one, where they get to win and be autonomous and have that control is going to be beneficial.
And but that is perfect. And I always think as well, something that works really powerful for us is, I mean, I don't give a shit about Minecraft, but what Max, he loves
sharing that special interest,
watching him. And I don't know how to play it, and to be honest, I'm not.
Sometimes they just want to be seen. In their interest. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, Bryony, it's been such a pleasure having you on.
I know. Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, I can't believe that you only live 10 minutes up the road from me.
I know, that's nuts.
We need to arrange this.
To
have a meet up. Like without the kids, I think was probably going to be a good idea. I mean, but Maxie, the older he's get, the better he's obviously the twins will be 9 in October. So Max, we've seen a real change in how he's been able to self-advocate for himself as well. Like he will say, whether or not as a maturity, probably a bit of play therapy, if he's actually capable now of, he knows if he is we're starting to see that that he can be, sometimes he's like, nah, I can't do that today.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And I think going back to how you can sort of get play therapy, sometimes play therapy can be named on EHCPs or part of YOTAS packages.
Yeah.
Because we feel that kind of emotional regulation support. So, you know, it doesn't have to be a lot of parents art therapy, music therapy, but, you know, I think.
How do you get, and I know there's a lot of parents that are in the PDA circle and also that follow my Instagram that are going down the EOTAS route. How do you get play therapy on education other than at school package?
I don't know specifically how you get it named. I just know that I work with families that have it named.
Okay, perfect. And they will specifically say.
Yeah, because obviously when they're looking at kind of meeting the needs of the child, you know, and obviously in there you have like emotional, social, you know, for him to say, for example, a child to be able to name their emotions more and do that sort of thing. Normally you can put in some kind of therapeutic support for that emotional regulation. So it might be music therapy, play therapy, art therapy, whatever. But that's normally, that kind of SEMH stuff is normally where you can put in for therapy.
Yeah. I mean, we'd never asked for it, and then his specialist school, which is obviously an SEMH school, were the ones that, you know, we think it's going to be really, really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so helpful for so many children to build that self-worth, their identity, their confidence, their social skill, all of that stuff. Like it's just really, really helpful for children in so many ways.
Amazing. So Bryony, your website is, I asked you this earlier, so for those of you that are listening, your website is called, let everybody know so they can come and find you.
It's sanctuaryplaytherapy.com.
sanctuaryplaytherapy.com. I will link it into the show notes as well for this week.
Amazing. Thank you.
But thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It's been really fun.
Oh, amazing.
Thanks so much.